So first, I'll pass the mic to Alka, who will tell us about BCAP, the Business Credit Availability Program, followed by Robin, who will talk to us about HASCAP, HASCAP. So without further ado, Alka, on to you.
Thank you so much, Janice, and good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here today, and thank you so much to CAMC for inviting me. So I'm here to talk a little bit about the Business Credit Availability Program. The federal government has rolled out several financial relief programs to help businesses that were hard hit by the COVID-19 pandemic. The Business Credit Availability Program is one such program. So under the BCAP, several loan programs are available to businesses affected by the pandemic, such as by EDC and the Business Development Bank of Canada, BDC, and they work with financial institutions to offer these loans. So recently, these business credit availability programs were extended until December 31st, 2021. Previously, they were to expire on June 30th. So the first slide, as you can see it, I'm going to talk briefly about these two programs. The BDC co-lending program, it's a loan jointly financed by your primary bank and BDC. The loan amounts can go up to $312,500 if your annual revenues for your business are less than $1 million, and then the loan amount can be up to $1 million if your revenue is 1 or 1.5 million. Greater than 1.5 million. The amortization on these loans are up to 20 years, and these funds are to be used primarily for your operational cash flow. You can make an application at your primary bank, and they would know what to get from you to process this loan. Your company has to be registered on or before March 1, 2020, whose intent is to generate revenue from the sale of goods and services, so to make profit, basically. The EDC Loan Guarantee Program, it's 80% guaranteed by the Export Development Corporation of Canada to be repaid within 1 year. It can be a term loan or a line of credit, fixed 1.8% annual guarantee fee on the full loan to be paid in quarterly installments. The funds can be used for payroll and operating expenses resulting from COVID-19. And you can make an application at your primary bank. The next program is, we'll just go to slide number 3, Janice, is the one before that, the HASCAP, Janice, slide number 3. The one before this, HASCAP, the one right after this slide. It says HASCAP, that's it. Thank you so much. So the HASCAP is the other such program. It stands for Highly Affected Sectors Credit Availability Program. So it's a term loan that is provided under this program to fund operational cash flow requirements while ensuring a degree of continuity of operations. And the program provides eligible businesses who have experienced a minimum 50% revenue decreased in the 3 separate months. These businesses have possibly applied and utilized the CEWS, the Canada Employment Wage Subsidy, or the CERS for 3 months before applying for the HASCAP. And these companies may not currently be eligible for other borrowing products. So the loan amounts, there are 3 segments. The first one is $25,000 to $100,000. The second segment is $100,001 to $250,000 if their revenue is more than $500,000. And the third segment is $250,001 to just under $1 million. And there is a HASCAP debt service ratio that the company has to meet. There is something very specific about this application, about the key principles Beacon score, which is a score derived from your credit bureau, and that Beacon score has to be 620. Loans are available with your amortization and term up to 10 years. First 12 months, you can have a choice of interest only or a fixed rate principal and interest. And then after 12 months, fixed rate principal and interest only. Fixed, blended, and a variable loan types not available under this program. Loans can be prepaid at any time with breakage fees. General security agreement is required to be in first position for the banks, and standard registration fees apply. The rate on this loan is a fixed 4%, and that is non-discretionary. So that is the HASCAP program. And these are the three programs that are still available under the Business Credit Availability Program. The CIBA loan ended on June 30th. So I've covered all of them, and I'm now going to pass it on to my co-host, Robin, to continue with the next portion. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Alka. And thanks very much to CAMSC for having me here today to talk about this exciting program. The HASCAP and BCAP programs are wonderful ways to access financing available on a temporary basis as a result of the pandemic. But there are, in addition, ongoing programs offered by the government to help small businesses obtain financing. The biggest of those programs is the one I'm going to talk to you about now for a couple of minutes. That's the Canada Small Business Financing Program, or CSBFP, which is a bit of a mouthful. This program is open to small businesses with gross annual revenues up to $10 million, which is 90% or more of businesses in Canada. Of course, the available financing is up to $1 million for any one borrower, of which $350,000 can be used for purchasing leasehold improvements or purchasing or improving equipment. With this loan program, you can finance the purchase or improvement of land or buildings, the purchase or improvement of equipment, and leasehold improvements in addition. There are a few things you can't finance that you can see listed on the slide: working capital, inventory, R&D being probably the highlight items. So how do you apply for a CSBFP loan? Well, you go to your bank and you make the application through the bank, who will do the underwriting process on behalf of the government. If we move forward to the next slide, we can capture just a few more details about this program. You might be interested in the rate. You can see it at the top of the slide here. Prime plus 3 is the maximum variable rate that can be charged. Mortgage rate plus 3 is the maximum fixed rate that can be charged. And there's a registration fee in addition of 2% that applicants need to pay on the total amount. And that registration fee can be financed as part of a loan, as long as there's room within the program maximum. The term of these loans is either 10 or 15 years, depending on what it is that you are financing. This is already a fantastic program, and the government has recently announced the intention to make it even better. So I thought I would share with you some of the enhancements that may be coming to the CSBFP loan program, of course, dependent on what happens September the 20th. The first of those expand eligibility of this to include startup assets and expenses, and also lending against intellectual property. They'll be increasing the maximum amount of this loan from 350 to 500,000, allowing the amortization period to extend to 15 years for equipment and leasehold improvements, expanding to include profit eligible business, introducing a new line of credit product to help with working capital needs and liquidity. That is, in summary, the Canada Small Business Financing Program, again, available through any of Canada's major banks. At this point, I'm going to pass it back to Alka.
Well, it looks like we may have lost Robin, but that's okay. He's finished his section. So let me just pass the mic back to Alka now, and Alka can tell us a little bit more about financing for a changing business environment.
Thank you, Janice. So far we've covered between Robin and myself the Business Credit Availability Program, and then Robin specifically spoke about the Canada Small Business Financing Program, which is a very specific type of loan program. I'm now going to talk about lending programs specific to CIBC, and these are programs that any business can go to a bank and apply for. So typically when you come to a bank and apply for lending, the banks will evaluate your ability to borrow based on strength of your business plan, your management capabilities, what experience you have in being able to run this experience, what past experience you have, what type of financing, your past personal credit history, and the collateral available to secure this loan if required. So these are the things that the banks look for. And then certain things that you as a business need to think about is, does your cash flow forecast include PPEs and other expenses associated with the COVID-19? How much money do you exactly need? What will you do with the funds once you get it? How will your business benefit from the loan or the line of credit? When and how will you pay it back? And what if something goes wrong? What is your backup plan? So it's really important that you give these things a lot of thought and cover these. And these things are really also going to help you build your business plan, which is what the banks are looking for before you come to us to apply for any form of lending. We'll go to the next slide, Janice. Just sort of would talk a bit about the different types of borrowing, primarily a loan versus a line of credit. So typically for a line of credit, the product will cover your day-to-day expenses, your day-to-day operating expenses. You are expecting receivables, but you still have to pay your employees, manage your day-to-day expenses. So this is where a line of credit would come in handy. The repayment terms depends on the amount you use. The availability is revolving, which is if you use a portion, the balance is still available. The security for these lines typically are assets, receivables, or your inventory. If you look at a term loan, typically they're used to finance long-term assets, such as equipment, such as vehicle. Your repayment could be fixed monthly based on the life of the asset. The availability is non-revolving, unlike a line of credit, and it is typically secured by the asset being financed, and which is why the life of the asset becomes important. Go to the next slide, please, Janice. So just going to talk a little more about business loans, business lines of credit, business overdraft, and business credit cards. all of these are available through CIBC or any of your banks. So the first one is the loan. It covers large expenses. It's to fund a one-time purchase. One-time purchase with the CIBC business loan up to your approved amount. You can buy equipment, invest in property, or finance other long-term business goals. And the starting amount for these loans starts from 10,000. The features are to maintain working capital, select flexible repayment terms to free up your cash, choose from competitive fixed and variable interest rates. The next one is a line of credit, is to cover your day-to-day operating expenses, access funds anytime up to your approved limit with the CIBC business line of credit. Use it to support your cash flow, meet your short-term business goals. And again, they start from 10,000. So the features is to access revolving funds, pay interest only on what you use, and take advantage of opportunities like trade and inventory discounts. The third one is the small business overdraft. So it's to handle unexpected expenses with the CIBC overdraft. You're covered up to your approved credit limit when you don't have enough money in your business account to complete a transaction. And the overdraft limits, the highest amount you could get is 10,000. The features are that you pay interest only on what you use, so you avoid an NSF, and you can access funds in an emergency. In addition to these, we also have the Business Plus credit cards to separate your business expenses from your personal, or as well provide your employees with a credit card for their expenses. Thank you, Janice. The next slide is basically what does the application process involve? So you basically book an appointment online or by calling our 1-800 number, and I have a slide later on that gives you those details. You would meet with a business advisor, or you would apply in person, and then answer questions about your business and your financial performance. You will need to bring in a few documents to your appointment. The business advisor at the time of making the appointment can email you a list of documents that you need to bring to your appointment, or email it prior to your appointment. The third step is we will verify your information, review your credit profile. If your application meets a borrowing criteria, you'll get approved for a specific amount with a specific interest rate and repayment term. Fourth step, after you accept your offer, sign a few documents, you can start using your money directly from your business bank account. Get funds in as little as 2 days for most applications. Let's go to the next slide, Janice. So in addition to these, we've also got some more borrowing options. The first one being the agriculture loan and lines of credit. Manage operating costs, buy new equipment, and grow your farm business. Choose from flexible loans or lines of credit that are tailored to your unique needs. And we work together with our agricultural partners in commercial banking to get you this type of financing. The second one is banking for Black-owned businesses. Access expert advice, solutions, and financing designed to help Black entrepreneurs, including loans up to $250,000 through the Black Entrepreneurship Loan Fund. The third one is franchise financing. Get the financial help you need to meet your franchise and personal goals. Talk to our experts and borrow up to $1 million. So the banks have specific franchise programs set with the franchisors, and we can help you with setting up these franchises under this program. So this is the last slide. You can meet with us on CIBC.com, request a call, find a branch, and the telephone banking number for CIBC is 1-800-465-2422. And that pretty much covers the conventional financing programs. that you can avail through CIBC. I'm going to now pass it back on to Robin.
Thanks very much, Alka. And now I have the pleasure of talking to you all a little bit about business banking at BMO. Let me start by introducing you to BMO if you don't know much about us. BMO Financial Group is the 8th largest bank in North America. We've got 12 million customers across the globe and 8 million personal and business customers here in Canada. And we've been named the best commercial bank in Canada by World Finance magazine 6 years in a row. That's the highlights. Now, let's move on and talk about way that we cover clients at BMO. We've got 3 different teams at BMO who deal with business clients. I represent the business bank, which deals with clients with revenues up to $10 million or borrowing needs up to $1 million. That's the vast majority of businesses in Canada. If you're a little bit bigger than those thresholds I mentioned, you deal with our colleagues in the mid-market commercial team. And for very large companies, they deal with our corporate finance division. Let's move forward, please, Janice. So Alka talked a bit in her portion about what banks are looking for in terms of establishing themselves as ready for financing. And I've got a couple of slides here that give you our BMO perspective on how we'd approach getting ready to apply for financing. And it's very much similar advice to what you've already heard. The key first step is to develop that all-important business plan, considering many of the bullet points that you can see spelled out here on the slide. Thinking about the purpose of your business, your management team, the market you're trying to reach, the industry you're operating, how you're going to operate, what products and services you'll be providing, and of course, providing some projections of your financial performance and reporting on your historical financial performance. So we get a sense of your capacity to pay back debt and deal with financing. Once you've got that business plan in place, and before heading out to meet with a bank to secure financing, we strongly recommend seeking out guidance and advice. Look for a mentor or an experienced entrepreneur in the industry in which you're operating to help pressure test your business plan and make sure that your aspirations are reasonable and you've thought about all of the various important pieces that need to be in place to operate successfully in your chosen space. Once you've done those 2 things, it's time to look for financing. Banks, of course, are one option, but there are many others. You want to look, I would suggest first, to what available government grants and financing programs might be available at attractive rates, or perhaps with not all required to be paid back. You want to look for what's available through banks and other lending institutions, and I'll talk to you in more detail about what's available through us at BMO. And of course, there are more innovative funding models that you might look to as well, like crowdfunding or other forms of equity investment. Once you've got that financing in hand, it's all about being able to successfully implement your marketing plan, getting the word out about your business in the right way that's relevant to your industry, and making sure you put the right resources around you as an entrepreneur so that you're not bogged down with administrative nightmares and can successfully do the thing that makes you a great entrepreneur and run your business on a day-to-day basis. Okay, that's a little bit about how to get started if you're at the early stage of your business. Now let's talk about working with BMO on the products and services that we offer. Alka talked you through the application process, the typical application process for financing. You'd see something very similar at BMO. What I've put on the page here is to talk a little bit about our sort of general process of working with clients, because I think that's important to understand as well. The most important thing for us is first to understand, to know you and know your business, and make sure that we understand your objectives. From there, we work at designing a plan to meet those objectives, making sure that we've thought about the full range of things that we can do for you at BMO to help you on that journey, including financing, cash management solutions, and other things. And I'll talk a little bit about those as we go. We work together to implement the plan. And then just as important as making and implementing that plan is on a regular basis revisiting that plan to make sure that we adapt to your changing needs and understand the way that your business evolves over time. I mentioned that we really try to work with you on the full range of products and solutions that your business needs at BMO. We call that the bringing the power of one bank to each of our clients. Alka talked through the standard financing products that would be available in our segment, and all of the same kinds of products would be available at BMO as well. Up in that business financing corner of the slide here, in addition to some of these more sort of specialized forms of lending that are available through specialized teams at BMO, like transportation finance and equipment leasing. Alka also mentioned some industry programs available at CIBC, and we'd have a full suite in addition of industry programs and franchise programs available at BMO, as well as community programs targeted at specific populations. Like CIBC, we also participate in the Black Entrepreneur Loan Fund, offering funding for Black-owned businesses. We have a program for veterans and spouses from the Canadian defense community to help support them in starting a business. And we also have an Indigenous banking unit at BMO to help support Indigenous entrepreneurs. In addition to those industry programs and classic business financing, there are a few other things that you could be thinking about around the circle here, which we can also help with at BMO, including capital market support, succession planning, personal banking and wealth management, and cash management solutions to manage your payments and receivables. It's important to think about all aspects of the financial needs of your business when you're at the startup phase, so that you have a partner to help you manage these kinds of details, and you can focus, as I said, on running your business. Wanted to highlight 2 or 3 more things that we offer at BMO that we think are unique in the marketplace that you might want to know about. The first is our origination platform, BMO Business Express. We launched this platform a couple of years ago. We believe it's industry leading because of how simple and fast it is to apply for credit compared to how difficult it used to be in the commercial banking world and still is in some places. Our Business Express platform allows you to apply for multiple products, for loans up to $500,000, and you can get decisions back in as little as 20 minutes from when you put that application in, and we fund very quickly on the back end. So ask your BMO banker about BMO Business Express. Let's move on to the next slide. This is a program that I thought might be of interest to this audience that we also offer at BMO. It's a government guarantee program called the Trade Expansion Lending Program, or TELP. It's designed to help exporters, both direct exporters, indirect exporters, and future exporters. They're guaranteed operating lines with a 75% government guarantee between $100,000 and $3 million. And just like the Canadian Small Business Financing Program that we talked about earlier, you've got that all-inclusive pricing at that same prime plus 3% level. This is a new offering for BMO in partnership with EDC. We've seen a lot of interest across industry about accessing this program. One more slide of special BMO stuff. and then I think we'll be ready to turn it over to questions. And the last thing I wanted to highlight is our cross-border capabilities at BMO. I mentioned earlier we're the 8th largest bank in North America, and we have presence across most states in the US, with particular strength through the Midwest. And so we have a number of integrated offerings that we can provide to help you if your business is operating cross-border. And you can see a few of those details here. Okay, I think I've talked enough about the distinguishing features of banking with BMO. And I think at this point, we're going to return to Janice to facilitate some discussion and questions.
No, firstly, thank you so much, Alka and Robin. Done a wonderful job giving us a lot of information about the different ways that small businesses can access additional funds. Now, we do have several questions already from the audience. So specifically, let me just start this one from Nicole Matos. So she says, for the loan program that work for commercial real estate, how long do we have to be in the business before we can access this? And do we need a down payment?
I can start, Janice, and maybe Robin can add. So for what I understood is to purchase commercial real estate, the question is, what is the down payment required and how long do you have to be in business, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so we have looked at several scenarios. You could have just incorporated, let's say, a holding company to purchase a commercial real estate, and we would look at your application in that name. You could have, so that is a brand new incorporated company. We would really eventually get down to what the loan amount is, where the repayment of the loan is coming from, and what your business plan is to determine the loan amount that we would provide you. And is a down payment required? There are several programs. Again, depending on what the repayment looks like. Our commercial banking does do loans that are owner occupied, and they will do 100% financing with no down payment. Under business banking, we would typically look for a 25% down payment. However, every application is different. It would really depend on the overall business plan, what the business does, what they intend to do in the commercial real estate that is being purchased, and where the repayment is coming from. So there could be several scenarios. Thank you.
Robin,
I don't have a lot to add to Alka's answer there, which I think was very complete. The answer is it depends on your individual situation, on your industry. A couple of things I wanted to highlight. Nicole, I wasn't sure in your question whether you were asking about being able to use government programs in this space. And I want to make sure I mention that you can use these government programs in a owner-occupied kind of scenario to help with real estate financing, but not in a real estate investment scenario. So if you're investing in real estate for rental purposes, that's something that our government programs don't support. But we do support them in our day-to-day lending at the banks. The other question I'll give a quick answer to is, you asked how long do you need to be in business? And I'll share at BMO, generally speaking, we look for 2 years of historical financials to assess the strength of your company. We do lend to startups who are younger than that as well, but then you're involved in projections and analysis around projections, which can be more difficult to support. So if you're wanting to be treated sort of as a mature business as part of an application, we look for 2 years of history and 2 years of financial statements, more particularly.
Great, very helpful. Now, a next question I have from Shannon. She says, a lot of banks talk about women's programs. So she's wondering if either of you could talk about the commitment to advance women's entrepreneurship in Canada. specifically, I guess, for Robin first, because she says she knows BMO has committed funds for women, but what does that actually mean? And how does it differ from traditional financing?
Great question. Supporting women entrepreneurs is very important to us at BMO. We've committed $3 billion to supporting women-owned businesses in Canada. And we've upped that commitment a number of times. And every time we up it, we are fully subscribed against it. There are a ton of tremendous women-owned enterprises in this country, and they're a growth engine for the economy. In terms of we also partner with a number of organizations around some grant programs or special loan programs for women entrepreneurs who have trouble accessing capital through traditional means. We have a program, and I don't have the name off the top of my head, I apologize. Follow up with me after, please, to grab it, for BIPOC women in particular, that we're really proud of, a grant program that we participate in there as well. Can always do more in this space, and we need to do more at BMO as much as anyone else to in particular to address those structural barriers to access to capital that still exist for women and minority business owners in this country, but we're really proud of what we're already doing in the marketplace. Thanks for the question.
Alka, did you want to talk from a CIBC perspective of what CIBC is doing with regards to any specific women programs or any other, I guess, buyout programs?
I know that CIBC supports women entrepreneurs, and there's a lot of work being done to come up with a specific program. We're always looking for ways to do better in this area, and I don't have a deck with me, but I'm happy to send. Is it Nicole? If I can get her email address, I'm happy to send her some information on it. But this is an area where CIBC is constantly working on to be very supportive, and it's such an important area that we need to do a lot of work in.
Perfect. Now, our next question comes from Brian Ritchie. What are the requirements for the BMO Trade Expansion Lending Program in terms of required current revenue? For example, is it applicable to early growth companies?
I don't have the details, those details off the top of my head, Brian. Again, Janice, if we're sharing contact information, at the end, I'd be delighted to get you more information. So I make sure I give you the right info off the top. Please reach out, and I'll make sure you get an answer to that question. Thanks.
So in the meanwhile, why don't I ask the question? With the pandemic, we're now kind of opening up again. How has the way that you work with clients changed since the pandemic? And what are you actually seeing from your clients now as the economy is kind of opening up or opening back up?
Mm-hmm. Maybe I'll try that first, Janice, and I'll pass it on to Alka to add on. What a ride the last 18 months has been. An incredible ride, and I'm been so inspired by the robustness of our clients through that incredible ride over the last 18 months. Despite many predictions of great carnage across the small business community in Canada, what we see from our clients is prudent decision-making, smart strategies, rapid evolution to a changing environment, and continued health at really a level much higher than what I think economists would have forecasted as we started through this process. I think it's a credit to the ingenuity and wherewithal of entrepreneurs in Canada that our small business segment has performed so well. That said, I think credit is also due to the government, who put in a lot of very much needed programs to help sustain businesses through that period. So what are we seeing now is the question. Those government programs are coming to a close. And so businesses very much are trying to figure out now, who have taken advantage of that support, how do I operate in this new environment? How do I make sure I can continue to sustain my business going forward? I think it's still an environment of some uncertainty. We see many of our clients still holding on to their a lot of the cash, waiting to invest as growth blossoms across Canada, but a lot of optimism on how that's going to proceed. Everybody talks about the Roaring 20s after the last pandemic 100 years ago, and I think we hear a lot of anticipation of the same kind of thing at the end of the day. So in short, I think our clients are watching, doing well, still uncertain a bit at what comes next, but feeling optimistic and ready to participate in this wave of growth that we all hope is going to follow the pandemic.
You said it so well, Robin. I don't know what to add to that. I think you covered it all. Whoever thought we would be in this situation, I don't think anyone expected what we are in. And, small to medium-sized businesses are the backbone of our economy. I see so much resiliency, businesses that have pivoted the way they operate to operate in this environment that we are in. And they've been so creative and so good. It's just amazing to see how certain businesses have done that and changed. I see in addition to everything that Robin said, definitely we still see a lot of cautiousness with our businesses. Even the businesses that never needed to borrow, I find them kind of thinking of a backup plan, like a what if this happened again. So definitely we are having those conversations with our client, with our clients, to put things in place in case we were to face something like this, which is not over yet. But, so much great work has been done by the government, by the banks, by, different institutions, and generally people. We found new ways of doing business, doing all our meetings virtually. Whoever thought we could do all this. So I think we've learned a lot during this time, and just excited as to where this is taking us next now. So thank you.
No, thank you so much. And I just want to check with the audience. Are there any additional questions before I throw out maybe one last question here? All right, so one question that a lot of us always ask is, I've applied for a bank loan but have been declined. What are my options now?
Okay, I can go first. So, very common. If a client came to one of our business advisors with this question, we would go into detail what happened, what was the request, why they were declined. A lot of our advice is also based on how we can position our clients 6 months from now to make this loan application more palatable, more workable. So our business advisors will work with our clients to make sure, help them position, speak to their accountant, look at what happened, why they were declined. That's one. Go back to the reason. Now, there are also other options. We work with BDC very often. BDC works with the bigger banks, and if the loan amount is 100,000, I'm just using a number. If we are only able to do 50, BDC may look at the application to see how they can help with the balance. So we will refer them to BDC. We will work with BDC and our client to see how we can help this client. If all else fails, they can look at, going to their personal financial advisor to see if something can be done there. But really, we would focus our advice on how we can position this client to make sure they can apply for this loan again, let's say 6 months down the road.
Alka's done a great job on this question. I don't have a lot to add. I think the advice is bang on. work with your banker, focus on how you can be in a position to succeed in your financing request the next time around. Consider options around BDC and your personal financial situation, or more innovative options perhaps in terms of investment, crowdfunding, etc., to sustain your business until you're at a point where you're ready to acquire financing. I think are all the right suggestions.
No,
seek help, seek guidance, work with a professional. I think that's the bottom line.
No, and I think that's great. And I do see that we do still have a couple more questions, but in the essence of time, I just want to confirm that Alka and Robin, if you're willing to share your contacts, we can reach out to our audience today and pass them your contacts should they have any further questions that perhaps their own financial advisor or the professional aren't able to. Are you willing to share your contacts with our audience?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Perfect. So we will reach out to everyone in attendance today to pass on Robin and Alka's information or email contact so that you can follow up on some of the questions that we have today. And with that, I just also wanted to show you, both Robin and Alka also mentioned BDC, which is a great supporter of small businesses. So they do have a lot of resources. So if you want to take a look at them. So they work directly with the banks as well as through the government of Canada in able to do that. And actually today, if you complete a survey on your experience at this particular event, on your perception of BDC, you'll have a chance to win a $100 gift card. The link has just been put into the chat. And then we will be, this particular survey is actually to help HEC Montreal University student that is conducting her master's research amongst the participants. So contribute by filling in the survey. And again, you'll get a chance to win a $100 gift card courtesy of BDC. And with that, we thank you again, Robin and Alka, and be sure to check out our next business intelligence webinar on November 23rd entitled How to Keep Your Company Safe, a guide to protecting you from cybersecurity risk. And you can find more on this particular webinar and other events on our website, www.camc.ca, as well as this particular webinar will be posted on our website and YouTube channel as well. So once again, I would like to thank all of our webinar sponsors, our speakers today, Robin and Alka, and the audience. Thank you for joining us and have a great Tuesday.
Thank you.